Gerard said that there would only be 4 people chosen for Collaboration Month. It's not even technically October anymore, but he heard what all of you were saying, read all the YouTube comments and the tweets, so today Gerard has summoned a friend, as per your request. And his response?
Oh yeah.
Yes!
The Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time, and the Master of Frustration.
Welcome to a brand new episode of The Completionist, and guys, I've heard you loud and clear. I know who you want me to work with. He's a great friend of mine. He's an all-around good dude. I'm so glad to have him back on the show. Everyone, please welcome Peanutbuttergamer.
Hey Gerard and Greg, thanks for having me back. It's nice to be here on my own terms for a change. Stupid aliens. So Gerard, if I'm understanding correctly, today we are reviewing both Ocarina of Time and its more evil counterpart, the Master Quest.
So everyone at home was telling me, hey, you should complete Ocarina of Time. No, do Master Quest. Ocarina of Time, Master Quest. And you know what? I decided to do both. The Legend of Zelda Collection Pack does not have Ocarina of Time and Master Quest. It only has Ocarina of Time. However, if you pre-ordered The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker at Best Buy, you got this for free, which is Ocarina of Time and Master Quest. So, without further ado, let's dive right in. The Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time, and the previously unreleased Master Quest. Ocarina of Time, without a doubt, is the most popular Zelda game of all time.
Like it, love it, hate it, this game solidified its existence in legitimizing the Zelda franchise.
But Batman and Peanut Butter Sandwich, finally! Oh my god, finally! Our Completionist Zelda plus PBG Zelda month! Half-Life 3 confirmed!
And the award for nailing the comments this week goes to Greg Wilmot!
You know, it only took me 80 episodes, but I finally got it. I want to say thank you to the Academy, to my cat, to my wife, also to my cat, the Academy Award-winning actor Philip Seymour Hoffman. Yes, that's actually my cat's name. And viewers like you.
We, couldn't afford a trophy, so here's a coupon for 20% off any copy of Shaq Fu.
I'll take it!
For those of you who don't play video games, don't use the internet, have never played a Zelda game, seen any of our videos on Zelda from either of us, or just have been thinking, gee, I wonder what Ocarina of Time is about. Well, let me explain it to you. This game starts out with a powerful tree spirit called the Great Deku Tree talking to Navi, a little fairy. The tree explains that there's a curse on him and only Link can remove it.
After collecting a sword and shield, you plunge right into the Great Deku Tree and start your epic quest right away. This is one of the best things about Ocarina of Time. You simply jump right into the game with only a few minutes of training to get you really ready.
After defeating the evil being that's cursing the Great Deku Tree, he explains to you the quest that you'll go on. Link must collect 3 spiritual stones in order to get the Master Sword. The 3 gods are the ones that created the entire world, including the infamous Triforce, our iconic thematic item that is always at the center of Zelda games.
As well as the center of most nerd shirts.
After leaving our hero's village, we go on our quest to find the other 2 stones, but not before talking to Princess Zelda, who fills us in on the evil man known as Ganondorf.
Wait. This is basically the plot of A Link to the Past.
Yeah, kind of.
Link to the Past basically set up the structure that we know and love for Zelda games. All the thematic elements come straight out of Link to the Past because it was the game that shot Zelda onto Nintendo's AAA list.
Fair enough. I mean, I haven't played that much of any Zelda game, but I get the feeling that after you get the 3 pendants, or in this case stones, you get the Master Sword, which then does something to change the entire course of the world because of our villain Ganon. Fun fact, my wife's maiden name is Ganon. She's evil!
Ganondorf, Greg. He's known as Ganondorf in this one.
Dwarf? They added the word dwarf to the end of his name? What, was he tiny or something? Holy crap, he's giant!
Ganondorf, the prince of the Gerudo tribe, appears a lot in both Link and Zelda's dreams, with the 2 of them predicting that he is the evil being that will change the entire fate of the world. As the game goes on, we discover the true essence of these 3 people's roles, and their pieces of the Triforce they contain. Ganondorf has the Triforce of Power, Zelda the Triforce of Wisdom, and Link the Triforce of Courage.
Now, why is it called Ocarina of Time? Well, there's an ocarina that contains some magical elements that, in conjunction with the royal songs of Hyrule, can do some magical things such as fast travel across Hyrule, change the time of day, make it rain, or its main purpose, open doors and assist in puzzles.
But why is it called the Ocarina of Time?
Because once we've collected the 3 stones and obtained the Master Sword, we then jump 7 years into the future to the world of ruin in which the game truly starts.
This is like Back to the Future. A link to the future.
It's already on the t-shirt. Been done, my friend.
Sorry, Greg.
Oh, poopsicle.
With all this stuff said, the Master Quest version of the game in regards to story is the exact same. Maybe a few extra cutscenes at most, I don't think so, but as far as the story goes, nothing changes.
It's not you, Link. It's your kids. They become zombies. There's nothing we can do.
Ocarina of Time was developed alongside Mario 64 in an attempt to really revolutionize the Zelda franchise. Production was huge on this game, and at one point, several lead production supervisors worked alongside Miyamoto to do the job right. As the game got bigger and bigger, Nintendo worried they wouldn't be able to put all this on one cartridge, so they introduced the short-lived 64DD add-on peripheral, a disc-based add-on for the 64.
And while Nintendo ended up just using a cartridge based on the final product, Ocarina of Time Master Quest Edition was meant to be an uncut version of the game that was designed for the higher capacity 64DD. Or is it double D? Huh, double D.
Zelda, raw and uncut.
So funny story for me, I never owned an N64 till the very last year of its life cycle. My family wasn't very well off at the time, so my brother and I would rent our 64 from Blockbuster, and with that, we rented Ocarina of Time a total of 15 times to try and complete it. Needless to say, our parents ended up spending more money than they should have, as they could have just bought the console right out straight.
Why is this story relevant, Gerard?
In recent years, I've been trying to build out my game collection from when I was a kid until now. And one game I did find was The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time Collector's Edition. Now, there's not really anything special about this, except the fact there were limited numbers created with the gold seal. Other than that, it's basically the same game. The land of Hyrule is huge, with all the different environments being dramatically, well, different. No 2 areas are the same, and they are incredibly immersive.
It seems like you really like Ocarina of Time, so then why would you say that A Link to the Past is your favorite?
I am one of those people that think regardless of how revolutionary Ocarina of Time was, it simply borrows a lot from A Link to the Past, which is both good and bad. But then again, A Link to the Past was the first Zelda game I really played. I'm a firm believer that the first Zelda you play will probably end up being your favorite because you grew up with it, and there's nothing wrong with that.
For being the first 3D Zelda game, gamers young and old instantly fell in love with its graphical design. Each dungeon, village, and environment you'd visit was kind of awe-inspiring. While you're playing, you just stop and think to yourself, wow, adventure, yeah.
The presentation is the one and only big difference between Ocarina of Time and its Master Quest counterpart. The dungeons are completely different. Structurally, sure they're the same, but the puzzles, the enemies, the order in which you receive items, completely different. Master Quest is essentially a harder version of Ocarina of Time. I also need to point out the fact that some changes have been made to the GameCube version versus the originals. For instance, the mirror shield. The design of the mirror shield's insignia is dramatically different than that in the original N64 version.
And let's not leave out the music. While a lot of the original music from this game is borrowed from A Link to the Past, there's tons of great original tracks like Saria's Song and Gerudo Valley. Let's also not leave out the fact that this is the first Zelda game in which Link has a voice. Now real quick, the Legend of Zelda Collection Pack does not come with the Master Quest. The Ocarina of Time and Master Quest Pack was a free promotion for people who purchased or pre-ordered the Wind Waker for GameCube. This means for these versions of the games, the controls have been switched to the GameCube control scheme, which is good and bad. Good because Link is now much easier to control and combat flows a bit better. Bad because of the C-Stick. On the N64, you had C buttons, which were much more precise. But unfortunately, with the Cube, it's really wonky and sensitive.
Hey, at least it ain't motion controls.
The most important theme when it comes to the gameplay of Ocarina of Time is the change from young Link to adult Link.
After collecting the first 3 stones, you have the ability to go back and forth from being young Link to adult Link by simply picking up the Master Sword or putting it away. Your goal is to awaken the 6 Sages of Time to lift the seal off Ganondorf's castle so you can defeat him. It's really fun as the things you do in the past will affect the future. And in Master Quest, there are some temples that require you to go back and forth between young Link and adult Link. I love the cause and effect of passing through time. For instance, in the future, the guy in the windmill claims that some jerk with an ocarina played the Song of Storms for him and it dried out the well. The guy then teaches you the Song of Storms, but you haven't learned it yet when you were young, so then you can go back to the past and play the Song of Storms to him to then drain the well. Pretty fun stuff.
Aside from the 3D overhaul, Ocarina of Time's gameplay is drastically different from any other Zelda up to this point. Using the Z-target lock-on system, combat has become streamlined with a much more cinematic feeling when engaging an enemy. However, it doesn't mean it's perfect. At times, locking on is a pain in the butt and super sensitive, especially if you're playing with this collection pack.
Of course, in all Zeldas, collecting heart pieces is a key element. Heart pieces have become more of a staple for puzzle solving and questing, but in Ocarina of Time, it's real good. Each quest feels more fulfilling than the next, and you'll find yourself really enjoying them as you go on. And side missions are really fun. One of the most iconic side missions in the game is fishing. While the fishing mechanic is not the greatest, the big game hunting for the Hylian Loach is very well known. Fishing for this beast is a game in itself. The unfortunate truth is that if you actually get the Loach, you only get 50 rupees and some bragging rights. But you know what? I did it. I hate this fish. From fishing for the legendary eel in the pond, to racing your horse, to even running your ass off to get the big Goron sword, side questing is never forgettable in Ocarina of Time.
Ocarina of Time has expanded tremendously in terms of the use of items. The visual interface for the menu is amazing, really giving you a way of tracking your progress and all the items you get. You've got the usual, your bow, your boomerang, your hammer, your bottles, but because you can travel 7 years into the future, adult Link will need different items that young Link can't use and vice versa. For example, getting the different colored tunics helps with certain dungeons and areas. The red tunic doesn't let you burn, and the blue tunic lets you breathe underwater with some kind of magic. You can get bigger bags to hold more ammo by doing minigames and side quests in various parts of Hyrule. And the best part is that these side quests are not required. They feel like real secrets that you've discovered.
I just want to point out that, don't get me wrong, the Master Sword is great and everything, but holy crap, the big Goron sword is awesome! This massive sword does so much damage, there's also no point in using the Master Sword. Only downside is you can't block with your shield, which does kind of suck, but the damage!
Let us not forget one of the most important collectathons in the history of gaming, the Curse of the Golden Skulltulas. Skulltulas. I'm gonna say it either way, messed up, so forgive me now, you've been warned. So there's the house where this family has been cursed, and in order to free them, you need to collect the 100 Skulltula medallions, which you get by killing the gold Skulltulas. Gold Skulltulas are basically golden spiders. Collecting these medallions will not only free the members cursed in the house, but they will also give you rewards for doing so, and finding these spiders get pretty difficult. Not actually defeating them, but finding them. You need various items to get them. Maybe you need to be adult Link or young Link. Perhaps it needs to be done in the evening. It gets real interesting and at times incredibly frustrating.
On the 4th night of the continuing eclipse, you must be 7 years younger but be mature in your ways while stealing a chicken from a well. Then you will see a Skulltula behind you.
Ocarina of Time's dungeons are very fun and rewarding. One popular dungeon that gamers really dislike, though, is the Water Temple, as it's not straightforward and it's pretty easy to get lost. But when you finally figure it out, it's very fulfilling. Rewarding is actually one of the first words that comes to mind when you think of Ocarina of Time. Everything has a purpose, even if it doesn't seem like it would. Both side quests and dungeons feel incredibly important.
I don't think I need to stress this, but veteran players of Ocarina of Time will be a little bit disoriented when playing Master Quest. After completing the original, I admit my brain went for a little whirl when it came to dungeons. Virtually the overworld, heart piece locations, quests, even gold Skulltulas are the exact same. It's the dungeon designs themselves that have changed up the game tremendously. And yes, gold Skulltulas inside the dungeons are different as well.
And we've actually left out a big portion of why Ocarina of Time is still so relevant to a lot of today's gaming communities. Glitches! There's tons of glitches that really make speedrunning that much more interesting on multiple levels.
So many glitches. Too little time.
In regards to fighting enemies, there's one thing I noticed that I just couldn't get out of my head. There's a few enemies that have some obsession of showing you their backside to kill them. A lot of the time I found myself just simply saying, Hey, show me your butt. Hey, spider, show me your butt. Hey, pig god, show me your butt. Hey, tentacle mini boss inside of Jabu Jabu, show me your butt. Show me your butt. So what are you supposed to be? Some type of... Oh my god! Jesus! No, don't show your butt. Don't show your butt. I don't want to see your butt. So you got all the heart pieces, all the items, which includes all the side quest items like the big Goron sword, the masks, even the ice arrow in the Gerudo Valley, and yes, you got all the Skulltulas. Let's tackle Ganondorf.
The last dungeon is a fun little reminder excursion as you must deactivate the little ray beams that are hitting the center of Ganondorf's castle. In order to do this, you have to defeat micro sections of the tower which reflect the 6 dungeons you've defeated. Pretty straightforward and nothing too different.
After a few cutscenes with Ganondorf, it's time for a familiar fight. This fight is a lot like the Agrabah fight from A Link to the Past, where you must reflect his light beam right back at him. One of the disappointing things about the Ocarina of Time bosses is that they're pretty easy to figure out. But you know what? That's alright. The dungeons are still really fun.
After a nice little ending cutscene, it's time to escort Zelda out of a crumbling temple. And when you get to the bottom, it's time to engage in one last final showdown with Ganondorf.
Ocarina of Time has tons of collectibles, from the heart pieces to bigger bags for ammo, spells, and the dreaded Skulltulas. I'm going to be honest, I haven't played this Zelda game in nearly 15 years. Yes, it's been that long, and while I survived the journey pretty easily, it does take a fair amount of time, and there's no payoff for really completing this game. The amount of time and frustration that goes into things such as getting all the gold Skulltulas and fishing for the Hylian Loach will drive you insane. There's so many random theories on how to catch the Hylian Loach that it'll drive you crazy. Read up on it, you'll go nuts.
And the same goes for Master Quest, the hard mode of Ocarina of Time. Honestly, Gerard, you probably wasted your time beating Master Quest, but at least you've proved that you got some guts, I guess.
Yeah, it took a lot more time than I really imagined that it would. Super depressing, but either way, I had a lot of fun.
Super depressing fun!
The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time is a fantastic experience that everyone should go through at least once. And don't tell me you can't, because if you have a 3DS, you can pick up the game for $40. And the 3DS version of the game looks better, sounds better, feels better, and it also includes the Master Quest version. In fact, in the Master Quest version on 3DS, they flip the dungeons, making it more difficult. From a completionist standpoint, however, it's not worth getting all the gold Skulltulas, all that stressful getting the heart pieces. It's not really worth it. And let's be honest, if you're a Zelda fan, you're going to complete this game. If you're an average Joe that doesn't really play Zelda, you'll probably just give it my rating of finish it.
Finish it!
That's all the time we have for today, guys. So as always, leave your comments in the boxes below. Collab month is over, but you know what? We ended on a great note. Everyone, let's thank PBG for being here. PBG, you're awesome. I'm so glad to have you here. Thanks for coming back, man.
Thanks again for letting me on the show, Gerard. It was fun, and it was definitely less expensive than last time. I didn't have to pay for a plane ticket back home, and I definitely didn't have to spend thousands of dollars on psychiatrists to help me forget what the aliens did to me.
Okay. What's awesome about having PBG here on the show is that he's actually doing 1 month full of Zelda content. And his first episode is happening right now. So go ahead and give this click right here to check it out. Right here, somewhere. Click it. You'll like it. Now, if you excuse me, show me a butt.